Introduction. This book is for any person that has their own business or considering their own business, and they want to move toward either finding the perfect business or to improve the one they now own. I grew up in Plenty, Saskatchewan in Canada in an entrepreneurial family. We farmed, owned a John Deere dealership, a GM dealership with Chevrolet Oldsmobile, Pontiac Buick, a water well drilling company, and we had a Cessna 180 aircraft. As a boy, I had 4 businesses of my own. I mowed lawns in the summer in partnership with my sister Helen, and I shoveled snow in the winter. I operated the local bottle return depot, and another sister, Joanne, assisted by transporting the bottles to the nearest city. When I was 13 years old, I opened a Honda motorcycle dealership, and I wholeheartedly agree with their marketing slogan at that time, "You meet the nicest people on a Honda." My parents were pretty nonchalant about all of these activities, so I just thought it was normal to own your own business. My dad never got involved very much, other than being supportive and offering a rare word of advice now and then. Fast forward to college days. I took business with a major in marketing and played drums in a rock band. I also worked part-time in a restaurant. In the summer, I worked on construction, operating heavy equipment, driving trucks. In my senior year in college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so while most of the class was taking jobs with IBM, Xerox, other big companies, I went back to my construction job until I could figure out what I wanted to do. It wasn't long before I was approached to take a job selling heavy equipment. It was the perfect job for me. I made 4 times as much as I would have if I had taken that typical big corporation job, and after a few short years of selling heavy equipment and saving my money, I was ready to start my business career. By this time, I was married, we had our first child, but if you wait for the ideal time to get started, it isn't going to happen ever. We opened a franchise restaurant, and I loved the business. If you go into the restaurant business, you better love it, because you're probably going to be working twice the hours that most people work, and you'll always be working the hours, the days, the times when other people are relaxing and taking time off. About 17 restaurants later, I had been a franchisee, a franchisor with a couple of different concepts that I started, and I was a franchise consultant. By then, I had owned pizza and pasta places, steak and lobster, soup and sandwich, fast food burgers, hot dogs, fish and chips, popcorn, tacos, and smoothies. I only had 2 places that didn't do well. Well, we closed those and licked our wounds. I always say that the restaurant business is a young person's game. But knowing what I know now, I wouldn't work so hard in the business, but I would be sure that I kept my finger on the pulse and worked on the business. When I first started the business in the 70s, times were great, and we made a lot of money. By the early 80s, the economy was terrible. Interest rates hit 20%, and we had to work hard to survive until the late 80s when times were good again. By the early 90s, I was still enjoying the restaurant business, but I got the opportunity to join a group that was buying apartments, condos, and doing condo conversions in the American Southwest. We were the beneficiaries of the fallout caused by the savings and loan, the S&L crash, and the resulting oversight by the federal government of the disposition of hundreds of billions of dollars in assets through Resolution Trust, the RTC. We bought several thousand units in Arizona and Southern California, working with investors. It was an amazing time, and it really felt like the streets were paved with gold. It also gave me the opportunity to move my family to Scottsdale, Arizona. Once prices increased significantly, we started building apartments and condos and increased our total to over 10,000 units. I eventually split from that group and put several of my own developments together in Arizona and Mexico. By late 2007, it became clear that we were in for a major correction in the real estate market, and I happened to be sold out of most of my positions at that time. I was approached about this time by the founder of a profitable custom home and remodeling company who was researching how to franchise his business. I consulted with him to establish the structure, coordinate the legal work, and complete the requirements for franchising in the U.S. and Canada. When it took off in a big way, I decided to acquire the master franchise for Arizona. I sold my interest in that in the spring of 2018 after we had built the company to over 100 locations in about 5 years. As of today, I'm the CEO of Alliance's national expansion. You can learn more about that at eliancesfranchising.com, or you can contact me directly at dl@eliances.com.